Welcome to another episode of Meal Prep Monday. I'm your host and founder of Prep Dish, Allison Shaaf. Today, I'm building on last week's episode where I talked about my new rhythm for buying groceries and doing meal prep and what my week looks like food-wise. And I'm talking more specifically about my experience in testing out the Prep Dish meal plans. I'll get more into that in the episode. I know you're thinking, well, aren't you the founder of Prep Dish? Are you always testing them out? But I'll talk more about it. Before I dive in, though, a quick reminder that if you're wanting to try out these meal plans that I'm going to be talking about during the episode, just go to prepdish.com/MPM and you can get a 2-week free trial. You can try out all the different styles that we have. You'll get a grocery list, meal prep instructions, and the best part is your dinners will be quick, easy, healthy. You won't have to think about it. We do all the heavy lifting for you. We do all the planning for you. So if you want to try that out, just head to prepdish.com/MPM. So testing out Prep Dish meal plans. I think I've talked about this in past episodes, but I guess a brief history for those of you that are maybe newer to the podcast or Prep Dish. I have had Prep Dish for, I founded it maybe over 11 years ago now. And of course, in the beginning, it was me. I was doing all the recipes. I created the meal plans. I tested them. Like I was doing it all. I also had a personal chef business. So I kind of was like, had a clientele of people that were I was testing out my recipes, with my clients as well. So it worked out well there for the first few years. But now, fast forward 11 years, things are a lot different, right? Like I now am married, I have kids. So I will say the Prep Dish meal plans that I, created 11 years ago for busy moms are now something that in our household are like essential for us having, a nice tasty meal on the table every night. So that's been really cool to have that come to fruition in that way. But I also have a team at Prep Dish. So I'm not creating all of the recipes. I'm not putting together all the meal plans. But we do a cool thing now over the past few years where the rest of the team, so yes, we have someone that creates the recipes and, quote unquote, tests them out when she creates them. We have a meal plan editor that puts all the meal plans together. But then we like to then send them off into the real world with someone that works at Prep Dish to try them out, just like as, you would as if we were a customer and, make sure there's not any, like kind of as the final round of edits. And we also have another editor. So we kind of have this whole process to make sure the meal plan you get is complete and not missing anything and also just works in real life. So I'm one of those testers. And so it's not every week. So some weeks I'm doing the same. I'm having the meal plans in real time, just like any of you out there that are subscribers. If it's currently September, I'm having a September meal plan. But then sometimes I will be getting a few times a month, a super fast week for, we usually work a few months in advance. So, right now I'm testing out December meal plans. So when I'm testing these out, there's been some things that I've learned that I don't learn through just using the actual service. And that's what I was going to go into today, because there's just some learnings there that have really kind of helped with a lot of these things we talk about of like, how do you create the habit of doing family meals and how do you make that just kind of a part of what you do and how do you expose your kids to new foods and all these different topics we've talked about. They kind of have really... Anyway, I'll just kind of go into the different takeaways that I've had through testing out our meal plans. So, one is that I'm super accountable to make sure I do the meal plan each week because I know that Mary, our editor, is waiting on me to give her feedback on the plan that I edit. So, that being said, even when I'm not editing, we're usually using the Prep Dish plans, but this just really makes sure, and it makes it easier for me to even like carve out time, say on Friday afternoon, to do my meal prep, like I talked about last week, because it's like, look, this is part of my job. And then I can do the video. And I've started, I don't know if for any of you that follow me on Instagram, I've been trying to incorporate more reels. So it kind of just all comes together. I'm like testing this out. I'm recording it. And of course, like big bonus, now my family is going to have food for the weekend and the weekends are going to go so much easier now that we have meals. So, but it keeps me accountable to really doing it. So, and I can imagine for a lot of you that are paying subscribers, this really helps you in the back of your mind, right? Like I know well, until you've tried Prep Dish, I know some people will say, can't I just get online and find free meal plans? And yes, I'm sure you can. Our meal plans are really high quality, as you can tell by hearing the process. Like we put a lot into making sure like these are the plans, not only that I would use, but I do use with my family and save you a lot of time. Like they're very valuable. And I do think also by paying for a service like this, it really helps you to be accountable. Like, oh, I paid for that. I need to use it. So just something to keep in mind if you're looking at that as you go through this. Then the other thing is that it's giving us something new to try. And when I'm doing the weekly plans, it's giving me something new to try, but kind of even on a new level of like not making any substitutions. So during the week, I will make substitutions like, oh, I know we like this protein better. I know we like this vegetable better. And when I say me, oftentimes that's even just me, like, oh, I prefer, this, I'd prefer to put mushrooms in there. Like, I'd rather do this. So it's oftentimes me versus the kids. I mean, the kids are not too picky and it's kind of hit or miss anyway. So I don't really ever make subs based on their preferences, to be honest. But this pushes me to not really do any of the substitutions, and which does end up having the whole family trying even a larger variety of foods. Of course, the rest of you, if you're just a customer, could easily make substitutions. But when I'm testing these, I really want to make sure that, I'm staying as true to the plan as possible. Surprises come up. So that's really cool to see. Is like the other day, gosh, a few weeks ago, I was testing a November plan and there's this green sauce. And even our editor was like, I don't know. I was a little nervous about that one. And it was so good. It's like a spinach, oh gosh, I don't know I'm forgetting what it's called. It's an Indian dish, but it's like the spinach with like the Indian spices and it's so good. And we made that and the boys actually loved it. Like didn't even take like a second. Sometimes sauces I've noticed like the night of they don't eat it, but then the next day they'll eat it. This one, no. Right away, they both said they loved it and like asked for seconds. And I was a little surprised because honestly, sometimes when we do Indian takeout, that is not their favorite, which is very hard for me because I love Indian cuisine. Anyway, they love this like green spinach sauce. It was like with sauteed pork cubes and served over spaghetti squash. And the whole meal was just a hit and would not be your typical, hey, here's a kid-friendly meal. But anyway, we all loved it. And so that was really fun. And then the other piece that I really like about testing these out is the ability to delegate pieces. And that's the meal plans in general, but I have relied on that. Like I put in the grocery order. I don't usually pick up the groceries. It's usually, if the au pair is dropping the boys off at school, I have her just stop by the store and pick things up. And then, during mealtime, if I'm not there, it's easy for my husband or the au pair to look at the instructions and figure out how to make the dishes. And honestly, sometimes I even prefer when they do that when I'm testing plans because it's really nice that then like I went to culinary school and do have a cooking background. So it's really easy for me to look at a recipe and just without even noticing. I've gotten better, over the years, 11 years of doing this to really notice when I'm making edits. But it's really like I just intuitively make edits to my recipes and like don't measure because I don't want to, I just kind of go off a feeling. And when you're testing things, you really should measure and like do it and all that. And plus, like they might have questions on certain terms. And, if we ever make an assumption somewhere, they can really come to me and ask questions. And I love that because then I can really see more as like from a, maybe, I don't know if you'd call them a lay person, but, that doesn't have as much of, the culinary training and background. But it's really cool just to be able to like, in order to execute the entire meal plan, it doesn't have to be just me, like it's not all in my head. It's all typed up. It's printed out. It's in the kitchen. Anyone can access that. Anyone can pick up and leave off in terms of getting the things done. And that can be anything from the groceries to the meal prep to the dinner time. So that's a really cool piece as well. And it's just been a lot of fun. It's really fun to see, my family get to be a part of that. And we did go through kind of a season a year ago where like I didn't have the capacity I was still using the meal plans, but I wasn't doing the edits. So now that I'm back into being one of our testers, it's just been so much fun. And I really did enjoy when I was doing all of the recipe creation and all of the, I really enjoyed that. So it's been fun to be a part of that again and kind of learn things and be able to pass things along. And, of course, look at the plans and constantly like that's something we're doing as a team of like, yes, we've always had you make your rice on prep day, but that's going to be a topic at one of our next traction meetings is should you make do people want to make their rice is it helpful to make that on your prep day or is it easier to just make it on the day of dinner? So if you want to weigh in that conversation, I think that's going to be in our Facebook group for those of you that are our customers and listening to this. But yeah, these are just some of my takeaways. It's been, I don't mean for this to be just like a verbal advertisement of Prep Dish, but it's really fun to just share my experience and how my experience has evolved with the product over the years and how it's really something that's just like kind of a part of our family now. And yeah, these are some of the things that have been really cool learnings over the past few months. So if you are not currently a Prep Dish subscriber and would like to try out the meal plans for yourself, we do have a 14-day free trial at prepdish.com/MPM where you can try it out and just see if this is a fit for you. If nothing else, I encourage people to just try it out to see how it works. Like if you're someone that already is doing meal planning and or meal prep, this is a good way to just kind of learn our system and see if there's some things that you can pull and then you can cancel and decide to do on your own. Or maybe I also think it's can be a very seasonal service of like, wow, I really need these plans right now. And then like maybe later you don't, and then you do again. We have definitely had customers come off and on depending on, where they're at in their life and what their family's meal time routine looks like in any given season. So that is all I have for today. I will be back again next Monday with another episode.